What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Just sitting here this evening and enjoying this beautiful evening. Sun's out, beautiful weather, mid 70s. This is definitely my favorite time of year. I love the fall. Only going to get to enjoy it for maybe another month or two before it starts to get cold and the weather changes and winter sets in, but I like to enjoy it while I can. But today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about age versus experience and the effects that it has on wisdom. And in today's world, we have more generations alive coexisting than we ever have before. We have people living longer than they ever have in history. And here in the US, for example, the boomers, one of the oldest generations, probably the oldest generation en masse right now, is the largest generation. And that has its own issues that we're not going to get into today, but a lot of boomers in society today think that their age automatically makes them more wise about how life should be lived, about how society should be ran, about how people should move, how people should act, how people should carry themselves, etc. They seem to think that they have more knowledge about what they deserve in life, and a lot of them lack the self-awareness and the insight to truly understand the time period in which they've been able to live, the opportunities which they've had. And if I was that age and I had lived in that time period and had the opportunities and gone through the decades and lived in society like they had, maybe I would carry myself that way as well. But the world is very different today, and the experiences in the life that Gen Z, my generation, lives is completely different than that of the boomers. The job market, the economy, the cost of living, the cost of assets, the inflation, just the general tension and feel of society, the size of population, the access to information, simple things like the ability to record yourself and put yourself on social media didn't exist 25 years ago, 30 years ago. The experience in the life that I've lived in the almost 30 years of my life versus the experiences in the life that my father, for example, who is of retirement age, the way that he lived during the same time period is completely different. This is a man that only has 9th grade education. He had his first child at the age of 18. And, for example, he's bought multiple homes throughout his life. He bought multiple homes by the time he was my current age. And it's a completely different environment versus my age now. If you tried to live and function off of a 9th grade education, you wouldn't even be able to get a job, even the most basic, bare minimum wage jobs in most of America. There's no way you could get one if you don't even have a high school degree. Even now, a high school degree, even now a college degree, in a lot of ways, is almost worthless, especially depending on the degree that you get. The cost of living that most people have, the cost of a home, the cost of a family, the cost of raising one child, let alone multiple, is astronomical. The amount of debt that young people have by the time they're in their late 20s is astronomical. And that is a prime example of the difference in age and the difference in experiences that we've had at those ages. And for boomers to think that simply because they're older, they have more wisdom about life is asinine. The world has changed so much in the last half century that you can't compare how young people are living today versus how you lived 40, 50 years ago. And a lot of older generations, and this has been going on for a long time, they fail to show grace to the youth. And it's honestly quite sad, especially when you look at the amount of opportunities that they've had to accumulate wealth, the cost of living that they had versus the cost of living now. And this is not, I'm not sitting here trying to cry a sob story. That's not the point of this video. There are plenty of opportunities today if you're willing to capitalize on them. We have more opportunities today to make money. We have more opportunities today to build wealth. We have more opportunities today in general across a variety of different areas in life than have ever been created in the history of humankind. The invention of the internet, the invention of social media has opened up so many possibilities that the older generations never had. But at the same time, it's never been more competitive, and you have to want it. You have to go after it. When my father was my age, there were countless jobs that you could get. Work there for 30, 40 years, retire with a pension, retire with a full retirement, and go off into the sunset and enjoy your golden years. Now, most people, they don't stay at any job for longer than a few years. Many people, their goal is to get out of a career and to build their own business and to work for themselves. That's a completely new phenomenon when you look at the grand scheme of the United States and of the past century, roughly. Historically, that's not really uncommon. Many people had to work for themselves, work on the farm, work their land, learn a trade, learn a skill. But over the past century, it's not really been a common occurrence. And for older generations to look at us and to want to shun us or look down on us for not pursuing and living life the same way that they did and have is disappointing, to say the least. Your age, just because you have gray hair, doesn't mean that you have wisdom about the world today. There are plenty of people that I know, and there are plenty of people that I meet that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s that have leagues of experience more than people who are retired. And the naivete that some of the older generations have about the world that they live in today is quite saddening, but also understandable. I just wish that instead of so much conflict, there's plenty of conflict all over the world. There's plenty of conflict in society. We don't need intergenerational conflict on top of that. If anything, we need to be coming together and supporting each other and encouraging each other and creating opportunities for each other. And I'm simply here today to talk to young people, to talk to Gen Z, to talk to Gen Alpha, to even talk to millennials. You have more wisdom than you may realize. experience brings wisdom, not age. And if you are experiencing life and you're constantly looking for more experiences and you're taking risks and you're putting yourself out there, yes, you will fall. Yes, you will stumble. Yes, you will fail at times. But with that, you will learn and you will grow and you will ultimately overcome. And you will gain wisdom from that. And don't let older people tell you otherwise. Just because they have gray hair, just because they've lived longer, does not necessarily mean that they know more. And if you're older and you are a boomer and you're watching this, I encourage you to be more open-minded and be more willing to listen to and learn from younger generations, because you would be surprised at the things that we know and understand and at the insights that we are capable of bringing to you that you may not realize. But that being said, that's all I really wanted to talk to you about today. And until next time, I hope you all have a great day, a great week, and I hope you all stay blessed.